Okay. Hello. I am Skip, and today we're going to build a campfire. So you're going to need a few things when you're going to go build a campfire. First, you need something to start your fire with. It's a small burnable material. It's going to be called tinder. Secondly, you need some kindling, which is going to be some small sticks. I went ahead and prepared some. Anything smaller than a pencil will work well. Just trying to make sure that it's good and dry. It hasn't been sitting on wet ground. And then you step up from that, and then you have your fuel, which is going to be sticks larger than a pencil. It can be small pieces of firewood that you have split down to size, and just make sure it's good and dry, and you should be good to go. So you also want to make sure that you have a lighter or a flame source. It could be a ferro rod if you get into that, or that sort of thing, but anything that will ignite this tinder. So let's get going. It's also important to make sure that you have something to put your fire out with, like a bucket of water. Some people like to throw dirt on them when they're camping. Just as long as you make sure it's good and out, you're not going to start a forest fire, you're good to go. Now, you can also use newspaper, you can use old lint from your dryer. I really like birch bark. Down here in the south, in Georgia, unfortunately, we don't have too many birch trees around, but I've got one in my yard, so that's nice. We planted it. Works well. So the reason that I'm making this video is a friend of mine was telling me the other day that he doesn't have very good luck with keeping fires going. So I said, well, I am going to go and find a video and send to him about building fires. And that's all fine and good, but everything I could find was what type of fire to build, if it's going to be a teepee style fire or a log cabin style fire, not actually how to build a fire. Nobody really covered getting small sticks and building it up slowly, and that's very important. You can kind of look at it like being a baby. When you're born, you can't eat solid food, so you have to start with milk. As you get a little bit older, you can chew things like the small sticks. We'll call that your Gerber baby food. And once you start building up heat, you can eat the Gerber baby food fine. Then you can move up to regular food, your larger sticks, your fuel. And then, as your fire builds heat, you can throw in some logs, and you're good to go. Now, it also depends on what you're building the fire for. So if you're just building a campfire, that's fine. But if you're building a cooking fire and you want it to build up heat really fast, use more small sticks, because you're going to get an ember bed faster that way, because they burn out quicker. But see, it's really no big deal. You just have to make sure you don't smother it, which is really kind of hard to do. And when people talk about smothering a fire, it's so important because fire needs oxygen. So that's what they're talking about. If you put too much on too fast, it can't get the oxygen to keep burning. Oh, it's warm. We're probably not going to make it too big today. It's about 90 degrees. But I thought this would be useful for people going through the summer to practice before they get ready to go camping this fall. And that way, they don't have to worry about freezing to death. Back to my friend that was talking about having issues with campfires. He took his family camping late in the fall, and he said they about froze to death. But the problem was, he got the little fire starter logs from the store, which is all fine and good. But then he was putting big full-size logs like that on there, and it just never built up enough to get them lit. So another useful thing you can do if you have some large logs like so is you can take a hatchet and baton. Now I think this is a lot safer than trying to split it. I've seen people do that. Batoning, where you take your hatchet, place it on your wood. This one's about 1 inch thick. Take another piece of wood, just hit it until you get it to start splitting. And that's all. Very simple. That'll burn a lot easier than a big chunk of wood. It's also useful if your wood's not very dry to baton a bunch of wood, and that way it'll just kind of dry out in the heat. But if I were to just throw one of these big chunks in there, it wouldn't burn. So that, in a nutshell, is how to start a campfire. So another reason, I'll give you some background, that I wanted to do a video is I didn't grow up very outdoorsy, and the first time I ever went camping, I was 21, and I'd never made a campfire, and I thought, you know, wildfires start really easily. People don't put their campfires out well, and before you know it, you've got a forest fire. And so I just thought, it's no big deal. I'll take a lighter, light some leaves, and have a fire. I also planned on cooking over said fire. 3.5 hours I tried to get this fire lit. It finally lit, but long story short, we were going out and eating sandwiches for the rest of that trip and not cooking over the fire. So maybe you've never been camping before, never made a fire, and I thought maybe this will help somebody. Maybe they'll be able to go camping and not waste 3.5 hours making a campfire. Anyway, hope this was helpful, enjoyable, useful, and I will see you next time.